Morning guys, it's April the 12th, I'm Henry Green from London Trading Group and I'm once again going to run through what we're looking for in the markets today. So start with euro dollar. So again, another indecision day for the euro yesterday. I had this fib in here, so it's kind of just an overrun from the 127. We stopped perfectly in between the 118 and the 127, pulled back into this zone, and we've now since hit the D. So we're back at the 38 now. So there's two things that this could do. Either it rallies, and I think it probably fails at the high again. You got such a indecision in the euro. It's literally pinned between 113, sort of 113.20 the lower side, and 114.40, and it just can't do anything else. It can look as bullish as it possibly wants to, and then it just gets rejected. So just be wary of that. Again, we've talked about this favour the short side. We failed so many times up here that I think it just does come off eventually. If not, though, we are looking for that rally into sort of towards 115, 114.90 area sort of place. So that's what I'm going to be looking for the euro. But certainly I favour the short side. It just takes some balls to be selling it when it looks like it's going to break through the highs. But certainly that's what it's been doing in the past, and certainly that looks like it's what's going to continue, especially after yesterday's close. So when in doubt like this, I always go back to the higher time frames, and the weekly says that this is indecision at key level of resistance. So this should come off this week, and hence why I'm favouring the short side. So that's my opinion on euro dollar. Okay, cable. So cables had a good rally yesterday. This could be, we did take the lows out on the daily chart, so I'm looking for this just to make another lower high. And where's it going to stop? So this is the next place. We just have to work that out. So what I'm going to do now is, so do we make a new low? So we didn't make a new low there, hence why this trend line is now out. So this can be deleted. I'll get rid of these few as well, so it makes it a little bit less cluttered. But certainly is this the outer trend line that we're looking towards out here? So that could be the place where this holds. Yeah, so this yellow line on the outside is my outer trend line. So if we manage to get out there, then that's the place where it potentially could hold. That leads us all the way up to sort of 147. So well, that's an interesting one, because if it gets up there, then that completes the 38 of the move down, which we talked about potentially happening on the week anyway. So that could happen. Other than that, I think that this just turns around somewhere in between. So we've got to look for a 60-minute counter trend line break before we can play the short side. And certainly this rally looks like it just could fade at some point, and it's where it's gonna stop. So I think you've got a good level at 143. So it could get up to 143. If it goes through 143, then you've got to go up through 20s and then 50s, and then we could take on the figure. So you just got to be careful with cable. But certainly what I'm going to be looking to do is I'm going to have this counter trend line in here on the hour, so I'm going to use a bit of a bigger time frame counter trend line, and as soon as we go through there on a good level of resistance, look like we're starting to fib down, that's when I'll start to take positions in this on the short side. Certainly we are making lower highs and lower lows on the day, so you've got to assume that this goes lower. On the week, that's one thing that's kind of turning me against this one potentially, is I've got a past market angle that we just rejected off last week, so we have since bounced, and we are running back into that support, that resistance area. So I've got it up towards 143. So maybe 143 is quite a good zone for cable to hold. If we get up there today, I'll be looking to fade it definitely, because we've kind of, if we do this fib sequence up here, as you can see, we've overran, we've run up to the 118, and it looks like it just wants to have another pop at it. So maybe we just clear the highs and then reject. So 143 I think is a really great selling zone for cable today. So if I just quickly scan across, let's see where the DTR for today is as well. That could give us another clue as to where this market might stop today. So we are currently, let's have a look at the chart, pips to upper line. So we've still got another 100 and odd pips to the upper band of the DTR, but obviously it doesn't need to do the maximum every single day, but it just gives you another high probability area. But certainly I think that cable at 143, as we're currently trading, is a very good area to be looking to fade that. So I'll be looking to do that anyway today. So dollar yen. Dollar yen, again, we finally hit this D on the downside, and this has kind of been expected, this kind of sideways move now. After a big move down like that, when we finally do complete, often the market goes sideways. So we had another crack at the lows, and we have then since gone sideways. So we had a nice indecision buy yesterday. There will be buys in the market as a consequence of that buy yesterday, but certainly the weekly looks very, very bearish, apart from the fact we've closed bang on the 200 moving average, and down at 108.10, which I had as quite a good level. This does look pretty bearish on the week. So whether or not this continues, I just think you need to give it some time to relax. And certainly I think, as one of the traders said here, like the pressure is on the risk is on the downside. So I think if you were playing longs in dollar yen, you're probably a little bit safer in terms of risk to reward than you are playing the short side. So that's certainly what I'm going to be thinking about today. You have got this trend line that's now broken as well. So we haven't made a new low, and that's now the inner's broken. So you could expect this to maybe potentially move out to this out trend line here, and that's up towards 109. So that's, yeah, completely plausible. and probably something I think could probably happen. So you just got to fib these. Often what happens with fibs, when a move's not ready to go, you often get a couple of fibs up. It will look like it's taking the air out and then start moving down, and then it holds, and then that's when the fib sequence will continue. So I'm actually expecting this to maybe trade up towards sort of 10.55 to 108.55 today before pulling back and then potentially going higher again. So that's a pretty interesting play in dollar yen, I think. Looks like quite a good market. Dollar CAD very bearish close yesterday. It held perfectly at the 127 on the 60-minute chart down here. So let me just take these off so you guys can see it a little bit better. Take them off. But this was the 127 that's held up perfectly. We were just talking about potentially the double top. If you just kind of counted that as a big double top, then that was exactly the perfect distance. So a lot of people have been taking profit down at the 127 as a consequence. Happened to be the 127 fib level as well. So it's held perfectly down there. But often when they hold and they don't respond, don't reject as quickly as they should do that, it's often a show of strength, and in this case it's Canadian strength. So we could now see this go up down through the floor. 128 is my big next level lower. I have got 128.60 in there as well. So if I'm just going to fib this lower, let's see where the 127 leads us, because if we call this a breakout, then what we need to do is work out where this could potentially go. So if we fib this on the downside, we're looking down towards 120. Yeah, 128 I think is a really good target for that down there. So let's just make sure this has the trend line been taken out on the short side. Yep, so that's out as well. So there's nothing really to stop this, I don't think, going potentially lower now, especially if it's just going to looks like it's in free fall. 128 is a good level down there, and the fibs coincide quite nicely with that. It's holding nicely on the 21 moving average as well, so that could be potentially your entry as a small initial position. Oh, I hate that when that happens. Yeah, so that's an interesting one in the dollar CAD. Okay, Aussie's looks like it's gone to form that right shoulder. Up at 76.50, I think that's quite a good zone as well. So if we fail up here somewhere and then start to come off, maybe break the trend line, then I'll look for the short side. There's no trade in this at the moment for me. Either it gets up towards sort of 77 area, or a little bit higher. We talked about maybe 77 or 76.90. If it gets up there, I think that's probably a good zone. However, that would then mean that it set like a higher right shoulder, which often isn't the best signal. But if it doesn't and we hold here, maybe we fail at this 118 or the 127, so maybe we fail at sort of 50 or 60 area and then come off. That's when we could then see this go lower. So what I'm going to be waiting for is a break of this trend line. Then I can play the fibs on the downside, and that's when I can then look to maybe take that MPO. So obviously the first target is going to be the distance of the shoulder, and likewise the distance of the head. Remember that a lot of people will be looking at this, guys, so just be wary with your stop placement. Don't go too tight in behind the shoulders, because often you'll be taken out as a consequence of the market being pushed in that way. So Kiwi's finally rallied. You had that break into the box on the weekly, and I think that we've kind of looks like it wants to go back out of it again. This was a nice hold area down here at 67.90, and since we are just holding on this trend line really nicely. So we have gone through here. So all I'm going to look for now is potentially to play the next fib sequence up. Are we in? Are we out of that? Yeah. So we could start a new fib sequence here as a consequence of that. So if we just bang that in, let's have a look where that takes us to. Okay, so that's perfect. That's a really good zone. Okay, so I found quite a good zone up here. So 69.30 is the DTR and the D for today. So we haven't pulled back to 38 yet. So we could have an initial rejection at 69. Then we maybe get that pullback, and then I think 69.30 is a really good area to potentially fade Kiwi dollar coming in towards the end of the day. If it manages to get up there, because I think that combined with the DTR, I've also got a level up at 69.20, so that could be an interesting one. And if you manage to close above there, then it's the highest close. We haven't managed to take out quite the highs. They're up at 69.60, so we need to go a little bit higher for those highs to be taken out. But certainly at the moment, it's found good strength. It's held nicely, and we could now bounce. So it failed to make a new low off here. As you can see, it did that sequence again that I talked about, where you get a couple, it looks like it's taken out the A, and then it holds. That's when the new sequence starts. And yeah, so this one looks like it could rally. I think 69.30 is potentially the first target for today in the Kiwi dollar. Okay guys, apologies for the lateness of the video. I'll be back tomorrow at normal time. Click subscribe to never miss a video again, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks very much.